Looking forward, rapid changes are taking place in the global monetary system that may affect the international role of the dollar in the future. Most major economies already have or are in the process of developing instant 24/7 payments. Our own FedNow service will be coming online in 2023. And in light of the tremendous growth in crypto assets and stablecoins, we are examining whether a U.S. central bank digital currency would improve upon what is an already safe and efficient domestic payment system. As our white paper on this topic notes, a U.S. CBDC could also potentially help maintain the dollar's international standing.
This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth, and today I'm going to cover the fall of FTX, which was once the world's second largest cryptocurrency exchange. And I'm also going to talk about how this is going to advance the future of central bank digital currencies. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a man named Sam Bankman-Fried. That's right, Bankman. He's the founder of FTX, and he also controlled a crypto hedge fund called Alameda Research, which was run by his polyamorous girlfriend, Caroline Ellison. Reportedly run by a bunch of roommates in the Bahamas who dated each other, according to the news site that helped trigger the company's sudden collapse. FTX was a Ponzi scheme where Sam used his tokens as collateral to borrow billions of actual real dollars that he couldn't pay back. People thought they were buying Bitcoin, but what they actually were buying were just IOUs. Sam figured that this would be fine, so long as everyone didn't try to cash in their IOUs all at once, and that's exactly what happened. It's really no different from a bank run, where people realize that their money isn't in there because of fiat fractional reserve lending. And this collapse is now conveniently being used as the excuse for why crypto apparently needs to be regulated. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says crypto must be regulated after FTX collapse. Of course, a regulated cryptocurrency market defeats the purpose and is not what is needed at all. But having said that, there were plenty of warning signs and major red flags for all of this. Like when Sam did an interview with Bloomberg, and when asked about yield farming, he accidentally described exactly how his Ponzi scheme works.
A surprising amount of legitimacy for what farming could mean. You know, where do you start? You start with a company that builds a box. And in practice, this box, they probably dress it up to look like a life-changing, world-altering protocol that's going to replace all the big banks in 38 days or whatever. Maybe for now, actually ignore what it does, or pretend it does literally nothing. It's just a box.
So there's already some major red flags here, because step one is to create a box that does nothing. So step two?
And then this protocol issues a token. We'll call it whatever, X token. And X token promises that anything cool that happens because of this box is going to ultimately be usable by, governance vote of holders of the X tokens. They can vote on what to do with any proceeds or other cool things that happen from this box. And of course, so far we haven't exactly given a compelling reason for why there ever would be any proceeds from this box. But I don't know, maybe there will be. So that's sort of where you start. And now what happens? Well, X token has some market cap, right? It's probably not zero. Let's say it's, $20 million market cap.
So now he's saying that step two is to make something out of nothing, exactly like what the banks do, by creating a $20 million market cap. The interviewer realizes that this is highly manipulative, so he calls him out on it, and then Sam doubles down.
From first principles, it should be zero, but okay.
Sure. Okay. I completely reasonable comment.
That's not quite true, but when you describe it in this totally cynical way, it sounds like it should be zero, but go on.
Describe it this way. You might think, for instance, that in 5 minutes with an internet connection, you could create such a box and such a token, and that it should reflect it should be worth $180 or something market cap for that effort that you put into it. In the world that we're in, if you do this, everyone's going to be like, ooh, box token. Maybe it's cool. If you buy a box token, that's going to appear on Twitter and it'll have a $20 million market cap.
So he's basically saying, Okay there, Boomer. That's how things used to be done. But here in my world, where millennials run the crypto space, this is how we do it. Watch him now explain exactly how this Ponzi scheme works. And again, the interviewers call him out on it.
So, X tokens being given out each day. All these like sophisticated firms are like, that's interesting. Like if the total amount of money in the box is $100 million, then it's going to yield $16 million this year in X tokens being given out for it. That's a 16% return. That's pretty good. We'll put a little bit more in, right? And maybe that happens until there are $200 million in the box. So, sophisticated traders and or people on crypto Twitter or other sort of similar parties go and put $200 million in the box collectively, and they start getting these X tokens for it, right? And now all of a sudden everyone's like, wow, people just decide to put $200 million in the box. This is a pretty cool box, right? Like this is a valuable box, as demonstrated by all the money that people have apparently decided should be in the box. And who are we to say that they're wrong about that? Like, this is, I mean, boxes can be great. Look, I love boxes as much as the next guy, right? And so what happens now, all of a sudden people are kind of recalibrating. It's like, well, $20 million, that's it? Like that market cap for this box? And it's been like 48 hours and it already has $200 million, including from like sophisticated players in it.
What he just described is literally a Ponzi scheme. Now, watch how the interviewers responded to that.
Like, you're just like, well, I'm in the Ponzi business and it's pretty good.
At no point did any of this require any sort of like economic case. It's just like other people put money in the box, and so I'm going to too, and then it's more valuable, so I'm going to put more money in. And at no point in the cycle did it seem to like describe any sort of like economic purpose.
So, what was Sam's response to this criticism? He basically just said, you guys are wrong and you don't even know how money works anymore. So just back off, Boomer. I'm running the show now.
And it is sort of like real monetizable stuff in some senses. And, at some point, like if the world never decides that we were wrong about this in like a coordinated way, right? Like you're kind of the guy calling bullshit saying, no, this thing's actually worthless. But in what sense are you right? You could see something get market cap in the way that, I don't know, Dogecoin or Shibcoin have, right? Where people are just kind of like, haha, and then they buy it. And if you're like, that's dumb, it has no cash flow, I'm going to short sell it, you lose all your money.
So he just equated his token to Doge or Shibcoin, saying, hey, if they don't create any real value in the real world, then why should mine? When I saw that, I knew this guy was very bad news and I had to stay very far away. But the red flags certainly didn't stop there. His crypto hedge fund, Alameda Research, was run by his girlfriend, Caroline Ellison, who he made the CEO of the company. And check out this major red flag that she was waving all over the place during this interview.
Yeah, absolutely could pull it off without my math degree. Use very little math. Use a lot of like elementary school math. Being comfortable with risk is very important. We tend not to have things like stop losses. I think those aren't necessarily a great risk management tool. I'm trying to think of a good example of a trade where I've lost a ton of money. Well, I don't know. I probably don't want to go into specifics too much with that.
Well, it's not so funny now that billions of dollars have been stolen and countless lives have been completely ruined by this. So this obviously begs the question, where did all this money go? Well, he misappropriated $4 billion trying to save his failing hedge fund. He spent $135 million renaming a basketball arena to FTX Arena. And he donated $40 million to the Biden campaign, coming in second place to none other than George Soros. He fooled almost everybody, including the famous Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary, who had this to say about just how safe he felt about his FTX investment.
If there's ever a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX. I'm a paid spokesperson to FTX and a shareholder there too. And big advocate for Sam because he has two parents that are compliance lawyers. If there's ever a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX.
Kevin has since called for regulation in the cryptocurrency space, which, as we'll show you, has been the plan all along.
It was a terrible investment, 100%, and I lost my money. I get it. I'm a diversified investor. I make mistakes. This is one of them. But I learned from my mistakes. This won't be happening again. If I'm going to put serious capital to work in a broker-dealer, in an exchange, it's going to be one that's regulated, that has transparency, and has the same rules of test that every other exchange that deals in stocks and bonds has.
So Sam Bankman-Fried stole billions of dollars, but that's already a crime. He also spent a ton of money bribing politicians, but that is also already a crime. But they still want more regulation, and on top of that, they don't even want you to have any kind of control over your crypto whatsoever. Regulator in Canada warns crypto exchanges not to promote self-custodial wallets. Tweets from the CEOs of Coinbase and Kraken that advocated self-custody of digital assets are being looked at by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police for violating sanctions put in place to curb the trucker protests in the country, according to a report from The Logic. So they don't like what we're able to do these days, and they need to try to control it as much as possible. And here's where we enter the world of CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies. I've been warning for decades about the coming cashless society and how governments are going to use centralized digital currencies for the purposes of control. And just look at how far they've come already since the introduction of Bitcoin in 2008. This is the current state of central bank digital currencies being formed around the world in 2022. As you see here, some have already been launched, many are in the pilot programs, some are still in research, some in development, just a few that are inactive, and a couple that have been canceled. It's all happening so quick, and on top of that, the powers that ought not be are currently engineering the crash of the dollar as well. I mean, the Fed's fight against inflation is completely crashing stocks and real estate, and forecasts for a recession within 1 year have reached 100%. Millions of people have lost trillions from their retirement accounts. They've lost billions in the stock market, and they've lost millions from cryptocurrency Ponzi schemes. Most investors now are more worried about the return of their money than the return on their money. So billionaire economists are agreeing on two things here. Number one, we are heading into a very dark and unprecedented time in the near future. And number two, you need to get your hands on some gold as soon as possible. And that's why I wanted to take a quick second today, guys, to tell you about my friends at Patriot Gold Group. When you call this number on the screen during business hours, you will get connected to a free consultant, an investor's guide, who will help you set up a plan moving forward. And what these guys specialize in is IRAs and 401ks that are backed by precious metals like gold and silver. And if you already have an existing IRA, that's okay. These guys will roll it over for you, and you might even be eligible for a no fee for life IRA. Again, when you call the number on the screen during business hours, you will get connected to a real live person, not some kind of robot or AI program, but a real person who will, again, give you the best of customer service to help you set up a plan moving forward. These guys are top-notch rated, #1 Consumer Affairs Best IRA Gold Dealer 6 years in a row. Again, phenomenal customer service, guys. And the number that you see on the screen is actually a preferred number for Press for Truth viewers. So if you purchase gold or silver through them, you will also be helping me here at Press for Truth in the field of alternative media. So it's really a win-win situation for everyone, guys. So please, if you have some time, call the number on the screen or click the link in the description below to get connected to your free consulted guide at Patriot Gold Group. All right, guys, crazy times indeed. Just wanted to bring all of this to your attention. Once again, if you do appreciate my efforts to bring you this info, please share this video with your friends and family who you think need to see it the most. Don't forget to subscribe to me, whether you're watching this here on YouTube, hopefully not. Hopefully you're on some much other better, more decentralized platforms that won't censor me, like Odyssey or BitChute or Rumble or Minds or Bastion. I'm on a bunch of them, guys. Check the links in the description below. And again, if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this info, click that thumbs up button, share this video with your friends and family who you think need to see it the most, and stay tuned. We're gonna have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.